Welcome to another back of the net recording. This one is for Pythagoras. Pythagoras is about right angle triangles. This is always on the paper. It's normally on paper 2 where you have a calculator to hand, but it's always on there, and it's in there as one of the grade C questions, one of the tougher grade C questions. I think it's a topper that you can do quite easily, quite straightforwardly, and make sure you're getting some of those harder to get marks on the paper. Okay, let's tackle one question first of all, and I'll let you have a go at going by yourself and taking you through the answer when you've had a go. So first of all, for our example question, ABC is a right angle triangle. A to C equals 6 centimeters, B to C equals 14 centimeters. They're basically telling you what the picture already tells you, so don't get panicked by this. Just look at the picture here. We can see we've got a triangle. It's a right angle triangle. That tells us a right angle triangle, so we know that we can be using Pythagoras. This side is 6 centimeters, that side is 14 centimeters. Now let's read the question carefully. Sometimes it's easy to launch into one of these questions and then realise you're not quite where you thought you were. So question, first bit, work out the area of the triangle. So this time they just want the area. They're not actually worried about anything else. Can we find the area at the minute? Area of a triangle, we should all know that the area equals a half base times the height. So in this case, A equals a half of the base 14 times by 6. Now it doesn't actually matter what order we do that operation in, because they're all timesings. So a quick way to do this would be to say, well, 14, half of 14 is 7, 7 times 6 equals 42. So you know the area is 42. Don't forget to write centimeters squared. Make sure you get both marks there. Okay, that's question 1 done. That was relatively straightforward. Just hide that out of the way a moment. The next bit, second bit of the question, calculate the length of AB. Now this is where you do need to know what this type of things means. AB just means the line from A down to B. So we've got to find this length here of the triangle. We know it's a right angle triangle, and we should be jumping straight away into Pythagoras. So my way of remembering Pythagoras, and it's on your revision poster, it's this one here. We draw those on there, and we should have minus, minus, plus. That's telling us that these two squares would add for this one. That if I want to find this one, I need to do that one, subtract that one. We'll do an example now. I always draw the squares on. Whoops, not sure what happened there. Let's try again. Okay, sorry about that. Always draw the squares on. Even if it's over there working, it should be squares, but that's good enough. 6 squared, 36. Draw a square around it so you know that was a square number. 14 squared is 196. Now, if you haven't got your calculator, you're going to find that difficult. You should know 14 squared. This is the calculator we expect you to use. You're going to have to ignore what's on the screen here. I can't change that. But I would have typed 1414, and then I would have hit the x squared button. It's that button there, x squared, and it would have given me 169. Let's just take that back out of the way a minute. That's how I get, 196. That's how I get my 14 squared is 196. Then in here, I'm going to write down, should have squared that, 196. Here I'm going to write that this one is going to be 196 plus the 36. Okay, I'm going to do that on my calculator now. 196 plus 36 gives me 232. So I know the square of that is 232. If I've got to find the length, I need to do the square root of 232. I'm going to do that on the calculator now, and I'm pressing the square root button, and it's important you know what that is on your calculator. So if you're using one of the ones we give you here, it's this button here, the square root sign, little tick, and then that's the number there for you to fill in. So we press the square root sign first of all, so I'm now pressing the square root sign on my calculator, and then I'm going to press 2, 3, 2. Then I press equals, and it's given me the answer 2 root 58, which looks complicated, but just like when you get a fraction, maybe you get 29 over 4, you can change that to a decimal by pressing the SD button. You can do the same for this. When you get that, if you press the SD button is there, just there on the calculator. That's from third to decimal, it's called, but just the SD button's fine. I'm going to press it on my calculator now, and it's telling me that is 15.23154621. However, in the question, they've asked me just to give that to 2 decimal places. So I've got to cut this off at 2 decimal places. That's my first decimal place. That's my second decimal place. I'll go in for the chop just there. Looking at that 1, that's less than halfway, so I'm going to leave it as it is. So my final answer is 15.23. Now, centimeters was the question. 15.23 centimeters. That's the job done. I've got my method done there. The only thing that's wrong with my method looking at that overall is I didn't put an equal sign in here, and I should have had an equal sign to say that 196 plus 36 equals 232. It's that stage there that gets you the method mark in this question. Okay, I'm going to move the board on. Here's a question for you to do. Have a go at it. Press pause now. Welcome back. Okay, just put in my little reminder there. Minus, minus, plus. That's on your revision poster. Looking at here, right angle triangle. I'm asked to find the missing length B to C. So straight away I'm going to jump into saying I'm going to use a bit of Pythagoras for this. Here we go. 5 squared, 25. Don't know that side. 9 squared, 81. Now, this one. It's one of the shorter sides, so it's going to be a take away. So it's going to be 81, subtract 25. Now you can do that on a calculator if you wish, or you can use your head. It's actually 56. So I know the square of this side here, of B to C, the square of it is 56. So I'm now going to do the square root of 56. And I showed you before which button to press on the calculator for that. I'm now pressing it now, the little tick sign with the square underneath. Then 56, press equals, and I've got 2 square root 14. To get out of that third notation to decimals they wanted, I press the SD button. Pressing SD, I get 7.483314 and a bit more. They've actually asked for 2 decimal places. So let's put the chop in. Dunk. That's less than 5, so it stays as it is. My final answer is 7.48 centimeters. Okay. Hopefully you got that correct. It's a straightforward question in the exam. Crucial bit for your workings, that line there. You get marks for squaring these 2 sides, but that's where you get your second method mark, and your third mark is getting it all right. Okay, another one for you to try. Press pause. Okay, welcome back. This is a particularly fun question for me, because in the pre-exam briefing once, I did an example of Pythagoras, and I actually happened to choose these 2 numbers, 12 and 6, and believe it or not, when I walked into the exam 3 minutes later, it was that exact question. Only they changed it slightly, and this is a crucial bit in this question. When we read it, it is calculate the area of the right angled triangle. Now to calculate the area of a triangle, I need the base multiplied by the height, and then halve it. I haven't got the height, so stage 1 of this question is to find out what the height is. Okay, it's a right angle triangle. I've got the long side and that side. It's going to be Pythagoras. Just going to quickly over here again draw my little reminder for you. Minus, minus, and the big one, plus. Okay, so I could draw the square on here. Obviously they're not squares, but this is just to keep my brain in tune with what I'm doing. I can't fit squares on in this case. So that's going to be the plus this time. That's the minus, and that's the minus. Okay, now write my squares in. 12 squared is 144. You can use a calculator for that if you wish. 6 squared is 36. Now this square, it's a take away one, so it's going to be the big number. 144 minus 36 equals 144 minus 36 equals 108. So I know that the square of this side is 108. I've now got to do the square root of 108, so I'm pressing square root 108 on my calculator. It's given me 6 square root 3, press the SD button to get as a decimal, and it's 10.392. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that because that's got to be the longest side. This is going to be a bit shorter. That's quite long. So 10 seems to be about right. I've now got to find the area of this triangle. And the area of a triangle is a half base times height. Well, I've already got my height still in my calculator. I haven't deleted it yet. So I'm now just going to times that by the 6 for the base. Times 6 equals 62.35 82907. I'm then going to divide that by 2 for the halving bit, and that gives me 31.1769144. They've actually asked for it to 2 decimal places, so we're going with the chop. 1, 2, there it goes. Looking at that, this number here is more. It's more than halfway towards 0.18 rather than 17, so I've got to round it up to 31.18 centimeters, and don't forget it was an area, so it's centimeters squared. Hope that's been helpful to you. Do we have another question? No, we don't. That's Pythagoras. Hope it's been useful. Please come and watch another back of the net recording as soon as you can.